I guess if you guys last week we didn't do a microsode so much as like a discussion between me and Joel.
Right.
We are now back to it. And I am taking a little bit of a break from horror just to talk about kind of a thing in a game series thing that I like, that I find fascinating. And also I think because it relates to Armored Core a little bit. So today I wanted to ask you, Joel, a couple of questions.
I'm ready for
And you ready for it?
death.
The first
Yeah.
question, and this is the first one. Do you know what ties together these games? Evergrace, Enchanted Arms, Ninja Blade, Armored Core Verdict Day, and Dark Souls?
No, but I won't because I feel like now your title might have given something away now.
Yeah, now you know.
But is it the Moonlight?
Yeah, man, it's
Greatsword?
the Moonlight, dude. So those are all games made by FromSoftware.
Wait, Ninja Gaiden was made by FromSoftware?
I said Ninja Blade. Different game.
Okay, Ninja Blade. They made a game called Ninja Blade.
Yeah, it was on.
Is it cool?
I don't think it was very good. Very good. This is all like pre Miyazaki.
I want to play it.
It's like games.
Wait, it's pre Miyazaki?
Yeah, so a lot of the games that came out like pre Miyazaki were just they weren't the quality they we wanted.
But
so,
what is it now? I mean, come on, you still got the same blood in there. There's other people.
But since then they've only had hits, and pre Miyazaki the games weren't always hits.
Okay.
Even in some of the Armored Core games,
they always had hits.
Yeah, I'm saying like I'm saying since Miyazaki's been in house, like kicking that thing into shape, every game that's come out has basically been a banger. From Demon Souls and on.
Okay, so Demon Souls was his first game?
That's when he came in, and yeah, because that was almost
they've all been the same game since he's gotten there.
Sure, okay.
If
you want to play devil's advocate.
You guys don't want to branch out a little bit. I call that being a little bitch.
I think they've had, sure, okay. Let's just go with it. Anyways, what ties a lot of their games together, I think, with the exception of 2, which we will talk about.
Okay.
What ties a lot of them together is that a lot of them have a recurring weapon called the Moonlight Sword, Greatsword, whatever, even the very first Armored Core. The very first appearance of it is actually from a game called Kingsfield.
Kingsfield.
I think it was on PS1. And it was like
emulate
first person.
buy it?
I don't know. It was a first person like dungeon crawler, and you fought a dragon, and the dragon's name was Seath.
Really?
Yeah, and you got it from him, I think. The
Okay.
Moonlight, the long sword of Moonlight or something like that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna read off the list of games it's been in.
Okay, go for it.
And this is from a release date, and I'm gonna actually add one because, and again, this is mild spoilers, guys, for like games. And I know this is probably something I should have said at the beginning because it does talk about an equipment that is usually secret.
Are you about to tell me right now that Armored Core 6 has a Moonlight Greatsword?
Well, there's the spoiler. It doesn't have a Moonlight Greatsword. It has a version of something like it.
You mean the Halo sword, bitch?
No, okay. Well, just let me do this first. So the first.
Also, have you fought that guy yet?
No, I haven't played since Saturday.
No, okay. He's an arena guy, and I was like, "What the fuck is that thing?" And I've never been able to find it. I want the Halo sword.
Quick aside, so this is a quick deviation for Luke. Since you finished the arena, was there good fights further down too? Did they get better and better?
I will say this: I fucking destroyed every single one with ease because I have a fucking god of a machine right now.
Awesome. Okay, well,
you know what I mean. So, like, I really, I didn't lose, and I lost to someone up above.
Were they cool fights? Like,
they were, dude. I think every arena fight was cool.
Okay, cool.
I had so much fun with every single one. Easily my favorite part of the game.
Yeah,
arena.
That's what I want to hear, though. Like that's what I'm excited for. More of.
Mm.
Okay, so from the start, back to my thing.
Back to Microsode.
Kingsfield was 1995. Then its sequel, Kingsfield 2. And then we have the first 2 Armored Core games. There's a game called Evergrace. Never heard of it. A game called Otogi Myth of Demons, which I kind of remember was kind of like a platformer. And then another Armored Core. And then a sequel to Otogi, Enchanted Arms, which was a PC 360 game that did not review well at all. But it always looked dope, and I always wanted to play it, but I was just too poor to pay for games that I didn't think would be good, you know?
Yeah.
To have that kind of freedom.
We have a PC and we can get it.
Yeah, no, I think it's actually on Steam, or it should be. I want to check it out. Another Armored Core game. This is where Ninja Blade was. And then after that, we have what we all probably, actually, I'll say 3D Game Heroes. If anyone remembers that game was so dope, but so underappreciated. It was a Zelda game, but it was all dots, like Like everything was made of like dots of like I don't know how to say it any more than like a cube made of dots, but it was super cool because you would get like new things that could extend your sword out like really far, like the more you leveled up. But it was like a Zelda game, like a top-down Zelda, like Link to the Past game.
Huh. And everything's dots. That's the part
It's
that
weird.
I'm tripped up
I know
on.
everything is like a yeah. I'll show you something
Because
later.
all I'm
But
thinking of is like a blue dot and a red dot, and then it's like here's a little tendril that pops out and hits you far away.
it's a hard game to explain. I'll tell you that.
Sounds fucking dumb.
Yeah, but I liked it. Super cool. Super cool. Okay. So we get that in another Armored Core game, but then we have the Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, the remake of Demon Souls, and of course Elden Ring, and our newest entry, Armored Core 6.
Okay.
So
this Armored Core thing.
I didn't look into it
Why?
for a reason.
Why?
Because I don't want to spoil it for us. I made this executive decision to not talk about this because it just came out, and also I don't want to spoil it for myself.
But how will you even know if you'll find it?
I did look up a picture of what it looks like.
Then you know where it is.
No, I know.
Because it explains where the weapon is when you have it.
A picture of what it looks like is not where it is.
What does it look like?
It looks like a giant green blade that you swing.
You get to hold it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm going to look
it's a
it up.
laser
Sorry,
blade still, but so it doesn't always stay out.
Oh, that's dumb.
Okay. All right.
So this is the one thing, man. We're gonna be. I don't want to make this because we're gonna talk about Armored Core like way more in depth. But I do want just like a physical sword that I'm holding. Anyway,
me too.
So,
me too.
Okay, so that's very cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Very fun, and it's literally called.
Every game is slightly different in its name, but it's always the Moonlight something.
So this is the
Sword
Moonlight.
of Moonlight. Well, except for which we can go into Elden Ring, but it's called the Dark Moon Sword in Elden Ring. It's after,
actually the Dark Moon Sword. Yeah.
It's again spoilers. Like I said earlier, it's the end of Ronnie's quest line. That's what she gives you.
Oh, that's right.
So
that's right.
Yeah. I have a summary, a quick text summary, if you allow me to read this.
Do it.
That kind of goes over some more, and then we can just have a little bit of discussion after that. And that's basically all I have, except for to talk about my experiences with it. So. Comes from a Reddit user. I looked up a lot of information myself, and then I looked up, a summary of the Moonlight Greatsword, its history, and this guy basically did all the work for me and put it in a much more eloquent way. And so his name is secret_wizard on Reddit. So thank you for your help. Simply put, it's appeared in the vast majority of FromSoftware games. I think it originated in Kingsfield, a game for the PS1. There it was related to the White Dragon Seath. Later, it was available in the Armored Core games as a blue energy sword for the mechas. In Demon Souls, it was a holy weapon that scaled with faith and could ignore shields when attacking. In Dark Souls, it was once again related to a white dragon named Seath. This time, it scaled with intelligence and shot lasers with strong attacks. And I always forgot about that. Then when you strong attacked with the Moonlight Greatsword after cutting Seath's tail off, you fired out like a blade beam or something from like Final Fantasy VII, you know? So cool.
Epic.
Okay, that's awesome.
It is epic.
No, it totally is. It really is. It is awesome and epic. In Dark Souls 2, an NPC could be found early on wielding it, but it turns out it's fake, a replica. The real Moonlight Sword could be forged by using the soul of a boss strongly related to Seath's legacy. It had the same properties as Dark Souls 1.
Wow.
In Bloodborne, it skipped the base game and appeared in the DLC in a grandiose manner. It was the iconic weapon of Ludwig, the First Hunter, and he wielded it against you. In an epic boss fight. It scaled with arcane and could transform between a nimble, slender form and a chunky, heavy-hitting greatsword. And it still had lasers. No, that's my favorite boss.
Yeah.
Of all time, arguably. One of my favorite bosses of all time.
That sounds sick.
It's so dope, dude. It's so dope. And it has the best... that's so hard. Talking about boss soundtracks is such a... It's a top-tier boss soundtrack.
I would love to do an episode of that with you.
I'm building a list.
I know you do.
Yeah, I'm building a list.
You know.
It's really easy for me to just say it's like Magus' theme or Boss Battle 2 from Chrono Trigger, but there's so many good boss themes out there, man. Okay.
Yeah.
In Dark Souls 3, you guessed it. It was made from a soul of a boss strongly related to Seath. Once again, it scaled with int and fired lasers. That boss is Osiris, the dragon, in the bottom of the Lothric Castle. He's guarding the the graveyard where Champion Gundyr is.
Oh, yeah.
Hate that boss.
piece of shit.
Here's the one thing though. It was notably completely absent from Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice.
So dumb.
Some people speculate that it may have appeared in a prospect of DLC that was about Tomoe, although probably unable to be used by the player outside of an ARM tool. And then this was made before Elden Ring. So in Elden Ring, it stands to be the quest reward for finishing Ranni's quest line, which is arguably everyone's favorite quest line in that game.
Yeah.
It scales with intelligence and something, but I never used
Probably
it.
strength.
I never used it. It usually does have a little strength in it. You do need some strength for it in Bloodborne. That's what I mainly used.
I feel it. It's a great sword.
Yep.
So
yeah.
need ass muscle.
Yeah. So the games that are absent, I think, are technically Ninja Blade because it's got like a separate thing that's like might be associated to it, and Sekiro. And they call the absent ones to have placebo type weapons, which are like, hey, it's kind of like that. And I was like, what the hell is that in Sekiro though? And then the people will say it's the Mortal Blade is like placebo of the Moonlight Greatsword, and I'm like, sure, I guess, but also like that's not really like it's also just it's too nebulous, you know. It's not comparable enough.
I don't even remember what different blades look like because I've used mods so much on that game now. I just change I always change what my sword looks like. I always change what my suit looks like.
Do you know what the Moonlight Greatsword looks like off the top of your head?
Oh, I definitely do.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. I'm just saying in Sekiro.
Oh, in Sekiro, yeah.
Don't the blades look the exact same? And then you just kind of get like an upgraded one.
It has the red like slash.
It has a red slash.
Yeah, the red energy that goes around it.
Oh,
that's all I can think of. Like being an actual, you know what I mean? It's very it goes through shields. It does do that.
Okay, I mean that's
which is a property of it in some games.
That is true.
I didn't even think about that, huh? And it does cost
mana.
What's it called? Spirit emblems to use it well. So maybe it's a magic item like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there could be an argument for it, but it really feels like that game needed DLC because the game was totally complete.
Give us a Sekiro DLC right now.
Yeah, it was totally complete.
Give it to me.
There just wasn't enough of it for me. I just want more Sekiro.
I want to kill more dragons.
The Tomoe thing would be interesting because Tomoe was the one that jeez.
Yeah.
What's his name? Genichiro. There it is. That's the one that Genichiro got his powers from, the lightning.
Oh.
His way of Tomoe.
Okay.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. So the Moonlight Greatsword. So my experiences with it. So it's always been obtained in rather interesting ways and super out of the way ways, you know. Mm-hmm. The only one I think that's probably the most straightforward one is like the Bloodborne one because you just beat the boss on the DLC and I think you basically get the badge to go get it. Like it's not hard. Oh wait, no, I'm off on that. You have to go out of the way for that one. I lied. Backing off. So my favorite way of getting it though as a secret is in Demon's Souls. In Demon's Souls, it's hidden in a level, and this Demon's Souls did this in quite a few ways, but like in the fifth world. The Archstone, right? The Valley of Defilement is what it's called. It's very much like a swamp, and you basically start in a canyon cliffside, basically in between it, with like a village built in it, and you're working your way down into a swamp the whole time. It's one of my favorite levels ever designed in a video game.
Huh.
Like the way it looks. It's so, and it would be one of my favorites if it was fun to play through. But there's a lot, and I'll be totally honest.
But this swamp levels suck ass in FromSoftware
exactly.
games.
This is the swamp level, and there's so much poison. And in Demon's Souls,
poison and fucking frog people.
I don't know,
Fuck those frog people.
But it was like a poisonous area. And you're like, shit, dude, poison areas are the worst because you have to use resources that are not infinite, you know, and it's always like a trudge. And honestly, when you're up on the cliffside, there's so much risk of falling to a one-hit kill or one-hit death, right? Insta-death, that can really take a lot of the fun out of it. But aesthetically, atmospherically, layout, how it looks like, I love it. I adore it. I adore how it feels like it's actually a place built in between a cliffside. It's very interesting in that sense, and I love that part of it. So like there's a couple weapons they have hidden in that world that are just really cool. And the first one's like a spear that's like got holy damage and it only unlocks if you're in a certain world state. And the second one is the Moonlight Greatsword. And it's essentially there is a mass of slugs hanging from a cavern or like a hole in the cliff once you're already down in the bog. and you have to work your way up some wooden rafters to get to it.
Uh-huh.
And once you get up to it, there's just
You have to eat
a
them all.
nest of slugs. You just have to beat the shit out of the nest, but it is next to 1 foot hit kill drop, so you can accidentally fall down and kill yourself, which is terrible. But has happened to me multiple times because that's just how that game goes.
Yeah. Why
so
not just kill all the slugs at once?
You hit it like
a fireball.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a lot of them, and they have way too much health to be honest. But
Okay.
not a lot, but
It's
enough
not
to be
Dark Souls
annoying.
slugs.
And your weapon bounces every time it hits it as it's like a just how it's designed.
Oh, okay.
And then after hitting it like a handful of times, eventually just the whole thing drops. And so then you need to work your way back down.
Okay.
And then you have to fight and kill all the slugs basically to unsheath the Moonlight Greatsword out of the ground. I love that.
That is pretty cool.
I love that. And the cooler part of that lore-wise is that the guy that had it, there's a dead body like right nearby, and that was probably the guy that was wielding it. And that's one of the guys talked about in like the intro videos of like one of the heroes that went into the mist to go try and stop it. And that's where he died.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very cool. And then I used that for the whole game because that weapon is very cool in that game. Very cool.
Very cool.
So
when we play it, I will be using it.
Yep. It's a late game pickup usually though. So
fuck.
But we can mainland our way there. It's just kind of hard.
Fuck.
Yeah. But that's all I want to talk. That's all I want to talk about with this.
That's all you wanted.
Yeah.
That's all you wanted from me.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to talk about with the Moonlight Greatsword?
Yeah, I have never used it.
Yeah, I know. Interesting. But that's also
no.
okay.
I actually have in Dark Souls 1, but
you're not a huge
3.
You're not a huge Magic player though.
No, actually, in 3 I used it more because I was a Magic user.
Were
in
you?
3, I beat the first the way I beat
dope.
3 the first time was Magic.
That's so dope, man.
Because I wouldn't, because number 2 was all strength. That's how I beat it.
Yeah.
And then I jumped into 3 and was playing all strength, and I was like, this isn't as fun. I kind of want a different challenge. And then Magic. And then honestly, I should have stuck with strength because it was super fucking easy with Magic.
It really is.
I literally cheesed everything.
DS3's AI is really easy to kill with Magic.
Yeah.
It's
and Pyromancy. Yeah. Pyromancy spells in 3 are like
great.
fucking insanely good.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I didn't know you played a lot of Magic. I always do. I am the weird guy who always plays Bloodborne with arcane, which is the magic stat, and I only do it basically that way. And I've done like 3 platinum runs now doing it that way. It's just like the way I enjoy doing it. So I'll only do that game Magic. Basically everything else though, it's always Dex or Strength. Always.
Fuck, dude.
Almost always Dex though. More Dex than Strength.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I here's in Dark Souls 2, the rapier is such a class A weapon.
Watch
dude.
your mouth.
And then Dark Souls 1, the S-Talk is so fun. Stabbing thrusty swords are really fun.
Yeah, you just hold your shit and go pew 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 pew.
Yeah, or but the S-Talk is just like a nuts
like
reach.
this?
Anyways, yeah. We're not talking about that. We were talking about Moonlight Greatsword. Anyways, thank you guys so much for enjoying this Microsode with us.
I guess
pew pew pew
pew pew. Thanks for enjoying Luke with us.
Thanks for luking with Joel.
And we'll Luke your Joel anytime you want us to.
Huh?
That means we're gonna